understand that actually it was in the experience of weakness and inadequacy that his greatest usefulness was to be found. Now, let's finish this first point with just a couple of comments. It is in the confrontation with inadequacy that he discovers that God's grace is sufficient. You will notice that his weakness is not removed. He asked for this thorn in the flesh to be removed. That is not removed. But the weakness becomes the conduit of God's power. And I think verse 10 gives it to us perfectly in that sentence, doesn't it? The paradox of grace. When I am weak, then I am strong. When I am weak, then I am strong. Here, I suggest to you, is the principle of all effective service. And if I may jump outside of my first point for a moment, and this is why some of us will never amount to anything for God. Because we revolt against this principle. And I'm going to show you in a moment just why we are prone to do so. The glory does not lie in our inadequacy. This is not a plea for going around like Uriah Heep, trying to tell everybody, I'm a very humble man, Mr. Copperfield. I am your humble servant, Master Copperfield. If you know David Copperfield. The glory does not lie in our inadequacy, but lies in the adequacy of Christ, which is discovered in our weakness and in our insufficiency. So, again, Peterson's paraphrase at the end, he says, now I take limitations in my stride, and with good cheer. These limitations that cut me down to size, and so the weaker I get, the stronger I become. Well, there we have it. That's enough on the first point. I think instead of my insufficiency proving to be a barrier to usefulness, the reverse is the case. Since dependence is the objective, weakness is the advantage. Secondly, let's look at it in terms of the cultural setting in which we read our Bibles and in which we respond to these truths. A culture that, to borrow a phrase from David Wells, has, quotes, a bloated sense of human capacity. A bloated sense of human capacity. In keeping with that assessment, and writing in the Wall Street Journal in July 2009, Peggy Noonan observed in one of her columns, quotes, for 30 years, the self-esteem movement told the young they're perfect in every way. It's yielding something new in history. An entire generation with no proper sense of inadequacy. An entire generation with no proper